Wake up early, start your day right. Before the world stirs, before the noise takes over, there's a quiet space that belongs only to you. In those early hours, there's power, a kind of peace that sharpens your mind and steadies your heart. When others are still dreaming, you're already moving, focused, intentional, ahead. That alarm isn't just a sound, it's a decision, a signal that you're not waiting for life to happen to you, you're happening to life. Getting up early isn't about punishing yourself, it's about giving yourself a head start, time to think, time to move, time to build the version of yourself you keep saying you want to become. Waking up early gives you a head start in ways that ripple through your entire day, and over time, your entire life. It's more than just getting out of bed while it's still dark. It's a commitment to owning your time, your priorities, and your mindset before the rest of the world demands your attention. In those quiet early hours, there's a rare kind of freedom. Fewer distractions, fewer interruptions, and a sense of calm that can't be found once the day begins to accelerate. It's in this stillness that clarity often shows up. You can think more clearly, plan more effectively, and move with greater purpose when you aren't competing with emails, notifications, and urgent demands. There's a psychological advantage in starting your day before others. It's a powerful feeling to know that while most people are still asleep, you've already begun. You've already taken time to stretch, to read, to write, to review your goals, or even just to breathe with intention. That kind of momentum builds confidence. It sets a mental tone that says, I'm in control of how today unfolds. And that mindset matters, because once the noise begins, when the meetings, deadlines, and responsibilities hit, you've already built a solid foundation. You're not reacting to the day, you're leading it. Waking early also gives you time to prioritize what truly matters, often our most important goals, whether they're about health, learning, or personal growth, are the first to be sacrificed in the rush of a busy day. But the early morning hours are untouched. They belong to you. You can use them to move your body, feed your mind, and align yourself with your deeper purpose. This isn't about cramming in more tasks, but about doing the right ones. Those things that often get postponed, rescheduled, or forgotten entirely once life gets busy. In a world that constantly pushes people to be reactive, waking early is an act of intention. It's a chance to act, not just respond, to decide what matters and begin with that, instead of letting the urgent override the important. And this habit, done consistently, starts to shift how you view time. You begin to realize that success isn't always about intensity, but consistency. It's not about giant leaps, but small, steady steps. And getting up early gives you more chances to take those steps, to make quiet progress when no one's watching, and to build something meaningful 1 hour at a time. It's not always easy. The bed is warm, and the temptation to hit snooze is strong. But discipline builds identity. Each morning you rise early reinforces the idea that you're someone who follows through, someone who makes the hard choice when it counts, and that identity begins to show up in other areas of your life, your relationships, your work, your goals. The strength to wake early becomes the strength to keep going when things get tough, to push when others coast, and to stay focused when distractions pull. Ultimately, waking up early isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about choosing to start your day on your terms, with clarity, energy, and focus. Over time, that simple act of rising early becomes a cornerstone of personal growth. It gives you time. It gives you space. But more than anything, it gives you momentum. And with that momentum, there's almost nothing you can't build. Early mornings offer clarity and control in a way that few other parts of the day can. In the early hours, the world is still. There's no noise from traffic, no endless stream of notifications, no urgent emails demanding a response. It's a moment when time feels like it slows down, giving you space to breathe, to think, and to connect with yourself without interruption. That stillness becomes a mental reset, clearing away the clutter that often builds up through the demands and distractions of everyday life. With fewer external influences, your thoughts are sharper, more focused. Ideas come more easily, decisions feel more grounded. It's in this quiet that you can reflect on what really matters, rather than reacting to what seems most immediate. This sense of clarity is hard to find once the day gets going. As soon as the world wakes up, so do its pressures. There are responsibilities, messages, meetings, and problems to solve. It's easy to get swept up in that current, moving from one task to the next without stopping to think if those tasks are even aligned with your goals. But when you begin the day early, you give yourself a moment to step back, to plan intentionally, and to set the tone. You decide what kind of energy to bring into your day. You decide what needs your attention first. Not your inbox, not your calendar, not someone else's urgency. Starting your day early is like taking control of the steering wheel before the road gets crowded. You're not in a rush trying to catch up. You're in command, directing your own path. That control extends beyond just what you do. It also affects how you feel. There's a kind of confidence that grows when you know you've taken charge of your time. You feel less overwhelmed because you're starting from a place of order, not chaos. You're not simply reacting to the day. You're leading it. In the clarity of the morning, there's also room for self-awareness. You can check in with your own mindset before the opinions of others start shaping it. You can notice how you're feeling physically and emotionally and adjust your day accordingly. Maybe you realize you need to take things slower. Maybe you feel inspired to push harder. That level of presence is a gift, one that's nearly impossible to access when the day is already moving at full speed. And when you make space for that reflection consistently, you start to live more aligned with your values and goals. You stop drifting. You start deciding. Control also means setting intentions. It means defining success for the day in your own terms before the world defines it for you. That could be focusing on a project, having a meaningful conversation, taking care of your body, or simply being more patient and present. Whatever the goal, mornings offer the perfect opportunity to connect with it, write it down, and carry it with you into the day. Without that kind of clarity, it's easy to finish the day feeling like you were busy but not productive, active but not fulfilled. When you repeatedly claim your mornings, you train your mind to focus better, plan smarter, and act more deliberately. Over time, this shapes not just your days, but your habits and eventually your character. You become someone who chooses presence over pressure, order over chaos, and intention over reaction. And it all starts in those first quiet hours, where clarity lives and control is possible. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become more centered within it. It's about purpose, not punishment. Waking up early isn't meant to be a form of self-denial or hardship. It's not about forcing yourself out of bed just to prove something or to suffer through fatigue. It's not a test of toughness. Instead, it's a conscious decision to start the day aligned with what matters to you. It's about giving yourself the space to live with more intention, not less comfort. The early hours aren't a burden. They're an opportunity. When you rise early, you're not depriving yourself of rest. You're investing in your priorities. You're choosing to put your goals, your growth, and your peace of mind at the top of the list before the rest of the world even wakes up. There's a mindset shift that happens when you stop seeing early rising as a punishment and start seeing it as a privilege. It becomes less about what you're giving up and more about what you're gaining. You gain time to breathe, to think, to move freely without pressure. You gain clarity before distractions can scatter your focus. You gain momentum, starting the day already feeling accomplished, even before the usual demands begin. This time becomes sacred, not because of what it looks like on the outside, but because of what it means on the inside. It represents your commitment to something bigger than the comfort of the moment. It represents your decision to live life by choice, not chance. Purpose gives your mornings power. When you know why you're getting up early, whether it's to work on a dream, to care for your health, to connect with your thoughts, or simply to experience calm, You don't resent the early hour. You rise with direction, not with dread. The actions you take have meaning. They're not just boxes to check. They're steps towards something meaningful, and that makes all the difference. Purpose transforms discipline from a chore into a source of strength. It gives weight to your habits, grounding them in values instead of empty routines. Many people avoid early mornings because they associate them with pressure. The pressure to hustle, to be productive, to always be doing more. But waking up early doesn't have to be about grinding. It can be gentle. It can be quiet. It can be as simple as making time for stillness before the storm. The purpose behind your early start doesn't have to be dramatic. It just needs to be true to you. Maybe it's reading a book that inspires you. Maybe it's moving your body to feel strong. Maybe it's journaling to understand your own mind better. Whatever it is, when you give it space in your morning, you send a message to yourself, this matters. Punishment is driven by guilt. Purpose is driven by vision. The difference between the two is how you feel when you follow through. With punishment, you feel exhausted, restricted, maybe even bitter. But with purpose, even when it's hard, you feel proud. You feel connected to something larger than the moment. You feel that the discomfort is part of the process, not the point of it. Purpose turns effort into fulfillment. It gives meaning to the early alarm, the quiet steps out of bed, and the discipline to keep showing up, even when motivation fades. The truth is, real growth rarely happens in comfort, but it also doesn't require suffering. It requires intention. It requires you to ask, what am I building? And then shape your mornings to reflect that answer. Purpose gives your routine life. It fuels consistency. It silences doubt. It transforms waking up early from something you have to do into something you get to do. And that shift is what sustains you not just through one day, but through the kind of life you're choosing to create, one morning at a time. How you start your day shapes the rest of it in more ways than most people realize. The first hour after you wake up acts as the foundation for everything that follows. It influences your mindset, your energy levels, your focus, and even your mood. If your morning begins in a rush with chaos, distractions, or negativity, that feeling tends to carry into the rest of the day. You might find yourself constantly trying to catch up, reacting instead of responding, scattered rather than clear-headed. On the other hand, if your day begins with calm, intention, and a sense of purpose, you feel more in control. You move from a place of balance, and that balance makes you more effective, more present, and more resilient when challenges come your way. The first decisions you make in the morning are often the most important. Hitting snooze, grabbing your phone, or skipping breakfast may seem small, but they send signals to your brain about the kind of day you're preparing for. A rushed, reactive start tells your mind that you're not really in charge, that life is something you have to survive instead of something you get to lead. But when you wake up on time, take a few deep breaths, stretch, hydrate, or reflect quietly, you begin with discipline and clarity. You tell yourself, I matter, my time matters, my direction matters. This doesn't mean your mornings need to be packed with routines or rituals. It's not about checking off a list of tasks just for the sake of productivity. It's about being intentional. Even a few simple actions done consistently can create powerful momentum. Drinking water right after waking up, stepping outside for fresh air, writing down a few thoughts, or setting a clear goal for the day. These small steps can shift your entire perspective. They give you a sense of progress before the rest of the world has had a chance to influence your thoughts or distract your focus. Your morning is the one part of the day where you often have the most control. Once the outside world starts making demand, emails, messages, meetings, responsibilities, it becomes harder to carve out that kind of uninterrupted time. That's why starting strong is so important. When your morning is intentional, the rest of your day tends to follow that rhythm. You're more likely to approach problems with patience, make thoughtful decisions, and stay grounded in your values. You've already taken the time to center yourself, so you're not as easily thrown off by unexpected stress. Mental momentum is a real force. When you begin with clarity and action, you build a sense of achievement early on. That feeling pushes you to keep going, to tackle your priorities with energy rather than hesitation. Conversely, when your morning feels wasted, it can create a low-level frustration that lingers throughout the day. You may still get things done, but it often feels harder, slower, and less satisfying. That's why the way you start isn't just about the moment. It's about setting the emotional and mental tone for everything that follows. Consistency in how you start your day trains your brain and body to expect certain rhythm. Over time, this becomes a kind of internal compass. It helps you stay aligned with your goals, not because of external pressure, but because you've built a strong foundation of self-leadership. Each morning becomes a choice, an opportunity to decide how you want to feel, who you want to be, and what kind of day you want to create. That choice adds up. It shapes not only the day, but the person you're becoming. And it all starts with those first moments when you open your eyes and choose how to begin. Use mornings for you activities because that is when your mind is most clear, your energy is most stable, and your focus is least scattered. In the early hours, you haven't yet been pulled in a dozen directions. Your thoughts are fresh, your attention isn't fragmented, and the distractions of the day haven't fully arrived. This window of time offers the perfect opportunity to pour your attention into the tasks that matter most, those that move your goals forward, build momentum, and contribute meaningfully to your personal or professional growth. Hi, Val. You activities are not about doing more, they're about doing what truly matters. When you begin your day with the most important work, you set a powerful tone. You tell yourself, consciously or not, that your time is valuable and that your purpose takes priority. Whether it's writing, strategizing, studying, planning, exercising, or creating, these are the activities that require clear thinking and intention. They're not always urgent, but they are essential. They often get buried under the noise and pace of the day unless you carve out dedicated time for them. Mornings offer that protected space, a buffer between you and the demands of others. The benefit of focusing on you work in the morning isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. You reinforce the idea that you are someone who makes your own priorities. You're not just reacting to what's in front of you. You're actively shaping your future. That mindset carries into the rest of the day. You're more likely to make decisions based on long-term vision rather than short-term urgency. You move from being task-driven to being purpose-driven. There's also a neurological advantage. Cognitive science shows that willpower and decision-making ability are strongest in the morning and decline as the day goes on. This means that your ability to focus deeply, think critically, and resist distractions is highest early in the day. Using that mental sharpness on shallow or low-priority tasks is a wasted opportunity. Instead of checking emails, scrolling through social media, or jumping into meetings, using that early window for concentrated work delivers greater results with less mental strain. You're not just doing work, you're doing your best work. Hey Val, you activities also tend to be the ones that create leverage. These are actions that produce greater outcomes over time. Writing a business plan, learning a skill, training your body, or refining your goals. Each of these builds a foundation for future success. They may not pay off immediately, but they compound over weeks and months. By tackling them first thing in the morning, you ensure that they happen consistently, regardless of what the rest of the day throws at you. You remove the risk of postponing them because of fatigue, interruptions, or unexpected changes. There's a kind of peace that comes from knowing you've already accomplished something important by the time most people are just starting their day. That early win creates a ripple effect. It builds confidence. It makes the rest of the day feel more manageable. Even if the rest of your schedule gets derailed, you've already secured a meaningful victory. That sense of progress keeps motivation alive and reinforces discipline, making it easier to keep showing up day after day. How you spend your mornings is a reflection of what you value. When you consistently use that time for high-impact efforts, you begin to align your daily life with your greater goals. You stop living by accident and start living by design. Your mornings become a launch pad, not just for getting things done, but for becoming the person you're striving to be. The effort is real, but so is the reward, and it all starts with choosing what truly matters, first thing each day. Consistency in your morning routine builds long-term success because it lays a solid foundation for everything else you do. It's not about having a perfect start every single day, but about showing up for yourself over and over again, regardless of mood, motivation, or circumstances. When you build a reliable morning routine and stick to it, you create stability in a world that's often unpredictable. That stability becomes a launch pad, not just for productivity, but for growth, discipline, and clarity. Over time, what seems like a simple set of habits turns into a powerful system that supports your goals, sharpens your focus, and strengthens your mindset. Small actions repeated daily have far more impact than big actions done once in a while. When you wake up and follow a consistent routine, whether it's making your bed, reading a book, meditating, working out, or journaling, you are reinforcing discipline. You're teaching yourself that your intentions matter more than your feelings. You're showing your brain that you're in charge, and that message compounds. It builds confidence. It makes it easier to trust yourself with bigger decisions because you've already proven that you can commit to the small ones. Each morning becomes a quiet declaration that you are committed to the life you want to build. Long-term success doesn't come from occasional effort or bursts of inspiration. It comes from steady, intentional action. A consistent morning routine eliminates the need to constantly negotiate with yourself. You don't waste energy deciding whether to do the important things you've already decided. That removes friction. It frees up mental space, and with fewer decisions to make, you're able to direct more energy toward creative thinking, problem solving, and meaningful work. The routine becomes automatic, and that automation gives you freedom. Instead of feeling rigid, it actually opens up more room for focus and progress. Consistency also builds resilience. Life will throw challenges your way, stress, setbacks, uncertainty. But when you have a reliable morning routine, you have an anchor. You have something that grounds you, no matter what's going on outside. That predictability gives you strength. It creates a sense of control when everything else feels chaotic. Even if the rest of the day falls apart, you've already won the first hour. That victory matters. It builds emotional endurance, helping you recover faster, think clearer, and keep going when others quit. Success is not a sudden event. It's a result of accumulated effort. A consistent routine gives you a structure that supports that effort every single day. It allows you to prioritize your goals regularly. Whether you're trying to build a business, improve your health, deepen your mindset, or learn a skill, the progress doesn't happen overnight. It happens through small, repeated actions. And the morning is the perfect time to make sure those actions happen. When the rest of the world is still asleep or just getting started, you're already building, already moving, already aligning your time with your purpose. There's also a deep psychological benefit. Routine reduces anxiety. It replaces the unknown with the known. When your day starts with predictability and purpose, your mind is calmer, more centered, and more capable of dealing with stress. You don't feel like you're chasing the day, you're leading it. That sense of control builds self-trust, and self-trust is essential to long-term success. You begin to rely on your own systems, your own consistency, and your own values. Over months and years, those small daily habits become the scaffolding for a life of meaning, purpose, and achievement. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it works. Success is hidden in the ordinary, and consistency is what reveals it. By committing to your morning routine every day, you create the conditions for progress to happen. Quietly, steadily, and without fail. Success doesn't begin with luck or talent. It begins with intention, and it starts every morning. The choice to wake up early, the decision to fill those first moments with clarity, purpose, and meaningful action, creates a ripple effect that shapes your entire day and ultimately your life. It's not about being perfect, but about being consistent. Each morning is a chance to lead your time instead of chasing it, to focus on what matters before the world demands your attention, and to prove to yourself that you're serious about your goals. The results won't show up overnight, but with patience and discipline, they will come. Build your mornings, and you will build your future.